Earlier this year, I made a video called Minimal-ish Room Tour, and I was just showing how my room looked after about 2 years or so of decluttering. And since then, my room has developed a little bit more, and I've been wanting to make some more changes recently. So today, I'm going to be showing you a mini room makeover that I just did. So the main part of my room that has gone through the most change has been my desk setup. When I was first starting to really declutter my room, I had this big locker style desk, which was really heavy and just really large. And even though that was a really great desk and I used it for like 8 years or something, I wanted to opt for something more minimal both in the function and in the design. So I ended up buying this black IKEA desk from Craigslist, which I used for a pretty long time, and it worked really well. But eventually I bought a monitor for my desk because I wanted to be able to bring my Nintendo Switch up there and use it in my room. So in order to have more surface area to just fit everything, I ended up buying another desk off of Facebook Marketplace this time. And then I ended up moving both of my desks over to the window area and made this kind of L-shaped desk setup. Now, this desk setup was actually really impractical for several reasons. The original purpose of the monitor was so that I could use it both with my laptop and with my Nintendo Switch, but it only had one HDMI port. So in order to switch between each of those devices, I had to manually unplug the HDMI cord, which was a big hassle. Also, there were just cables running all along the top of the desk because neither of the desks were big enough to actually fit both the monitor and the laptop comfortably. So I had to keep them separate, which just defeated the whole purpose of using the laptop with the monitor. So after using this setup for not very long at all, I decided I needed to have a new setup. At the same time all of this was going on, I decided to abandon my original plan of having mostly black furniture and switch to a more white theme because I wanted to have a kind of more bright and like open looking room. And having a white themed room still allows me to have that kind of minimal modern look that I wanted to have. So the plan moving forward was to have a mostly white room. I also wanted to add in some elements of wood and bamboo, maybe add some plants in the future, and then finally I wanted to have pops of warm colors like red and orange and yellow, just to make the room a little more interesting and not have it be this completely just white, bland room. So with all of that in mind, I decided to get some brand new gear, both to help kind of transition into this white theme I was going for, as well as to optimize my desk setup. So first I got this white IKEA desk from Craigslist to replace my black one. I also ended up getting a new monitor that was both face mount compatible and had more ports. So I was able to actually mount it onto a monitor arm, which allowed me to help clear up space on my desk. Another item that helped me clear up desk space was this microphone arm that I got off Amazon, which I used with my Blue Yeti microphone. I also bought a white wireless keyboard to replace the wired one I was using, and I bought this desk lamp from Amazon that I could use at night. And I eventually moved my desk back to where it originally was, and instead of having an L-shaped setup, I just put the white desk along the wall and then the black desk right next to it. So fast forward to very recently, and I was basically only using the white desk and the black desk was just being used as storage next to it. So I kind of wanted to get rid of the black desk because one, it didn't fit my room, and two, it was only being used as storage. So my plan was to buy a set of IKEA Alex drawers in white and put that under the right side of my desk and replace the legs. That way I would have the storage that I needed, but I wouldn't have to have this whole entire extra desk in order to have that storage. But I searched for months and months on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, and for the life of me, I just could not find IKEA drawers in white used for a decent price. And I was not about to go to IKEA and spend $90 on a brand new set of IKEA drawers because that's expensive and it's just more environmentally friendly to buy used. So one day I just decided I was going to sell the black desk even though I couldn't find the IKEA drawers, and I was just gonna figure out what to do with all of the stuff stored inside of there. But the same exact day that I posted the black desk for sale, I looked on Craigslist and someone was selling 2 IKEA Alex drawers along with a Linmon tabletop, also from IKEA, for $80, which is a complete steal. So I emailed the person right away and texted them. It turns out a lot of people were interested, so I ended up offering $100 to give myself a better chance, and they accepted. So the very next day, I was able to both sell the black desk as well as pick up the IKEA drawers and the tabletop. And finally, after months and months of searching, I had the IKEA Alex drawers that I had been wanting for so freaking long. Like I mentioned earlier, the plan was to have one set of IKEA drawers under the right side of my current desk, and then that way I could sell the other set of IKEA drawers along with the tabletop and make back some of that $100 I spent. But I thought to myself, since I have this brand new desk setup anyways, I might as well just put it together and see how it looks. And if I like it a lot, then maybe I could just use those shoe drawers with that tabletop as my new desk setup. So I ended up roughly arranging the drawers along with the tabletop to see how it looked. And I wasn't exactly sure if I wanted to use the tabletop that I bought because my old tabletop was white and it would match the Alex drawers. But after assembling it, I actually really liked how it looked. The Linmon tabletop has this kind of nice light wooden color that helps introduce that kind of wood element that I wanted to have in my room, and it was much bigger than my current tabletop. So I really liked it, and I just decided that I was gonna go with this totally new desk setup. So you might notice that the tabletop kind of hangs over the back of the Alex drawers more than the front. And this is actually a good thing because it'll allow for more cable management as we go forward, and you'll kind of see that come into play. So the next step was to take all of the stuff that was attached to my previous desk and then move it to the new one. So I started with the monitor, which was the hardest part. I marked the center of the monitor with a piece of tape, and then I also measured out the new tabletop and marked the center of that with a piece of tape so that it would be easier to line up everything. Afterwards, I took the monitor arm off of the old desk, put it on the new desk, and then I decided to remove the monitor itself just to make the arm lighter and less off balance. And then I put it approximately where I thought it was supposed to be, put the monitor back on, and then afterwards I was able to center it more easily using the pieces of tape that I put on the monitor and the desk. And after it was centered, I decided to move on to the mic arm that I had on the other desk. I simply unclamped that and then found out where I wanted to put it on the new desk and attached it there. The next step was to take the power strip that was attached to the back of my old desk and then bring it to the new desk. This was attached to the back of the desk using command strips, but the problem was the little tabs that you're supposed to pull on to remove the command strips were behind the power strip, so I could not reach them and I had to kind of just pry the power strip off of the desk. But luckily it came off cleanly and I was able to move it, and this time I decided to just use one command strip instead because of how strong it is. These things are only like 2 inches, but they're really strong. So to all the people who told me that 2 inches isn't a lot, what now? So I just used one command strip this time in the center and attached it to my new desk. The next step was taking my laptop power cord off of my old desk, which I had mounted to the bottom using Velcro tape. I just put on new Velcro strips and mounted it onto the back of my current desk. And this was the benefit of having part of the tabletop hang over the back of the drawers. It gave this space underneath for me to mount the laptop charger behind the Alex drawers so that it's kind of out of sight. But as you can see, it's tucked away behind the Alex drawers, and that makes for a much more clean look, and it helps with cable management. The next thing I did was take my Elgato capture card, which was also mounted underneath my old desk, and just putting on a Velcro strip and mounting it as well underneath my current desk. And then finally, once all the hard stuff was done, I was able to do the fun part, which was putting all the essential things back onto my desk. So I brought my laptop back, my Nintendo Switch, my speakers, mouse, keyboard, and my desk lamp. The next part, which was the most satisfying for me, was putting all of the stuff that was originally in the black desk drawers into my new IKEA Alex drawers. And this was awesome because after I was able to get rid of the black desk, I just had all this space left in my room and it felt just more open, and the black desk wasn't going with the new like white theme I was going for, so it just looks a lot cleaner not having to have it now that I have these IKEA Alex drawers. And because I had so much more storage, I was actually able to go through my nightstands, which were on the other side of my room, and I was able to get rid of enough stuff to be able to only use one of those nightstands for storage, and that means I could sell the other one and clear out my room a little bit more. The next step was to hang up this bulletin board that I had bought from Target. So I used this bubble leveling tool app that I found for free on my iPhone, and I used it to kind of position the bulletin board, and then I marked the wall where the corner should be using tape. And then after that, I put the adhesive strips on the back of the bulletin board and then positioned it where the tape markers were, and then I hung it up, and it was super easy. So now I have a bulletin board, and this also helps introduce kind of, the wood I wanted to have in my room. I don't want to go on with the rest of the makeover and just leave this bulletin board empty, because bulletin boards are meant to be a source of inspiration and creativity and productivity and stuff. So what I'm going to do right now is fill up this bulletin board with all of my goals and aspirations, and I'll get back to you guys when I'm finished. Alright guys, so as you can see, I finished the bulletin board. Now we can move on to the rest of the room. The next thing I decided to do was take down this dogs playing poker poster that I had. I actually really like this, but the reason I'm taking it down is just because it feels kind of random in my room and it doesn't really go with anything. And one other small thing is that it's not centered with the monitor, which isn't really a big deal, but it is one other reason to move it. So I'm going to put this with all the other pictures and posters that I'm not hanging up at the moment. And eventually, if I find a good place for it, then I'll hang it back up. But for now, I'd rather just have the open wall space. Now, I didn't show this in the last room tour video, but I actually had these 3 canvas paintings up here, and I decided to remove the top and bottom one. These 3 canvas paintings were actually from this canvas painting activity I did for my residence when I was an RA. Corey, what are you making there?
This is a really great piece.
What's it called?
It's definitely not called FUD. It's called...
This one was painted by my friend, and he asked if he could paint something and if I could hang it up in my room, and I said yes. And this symbol is called an ankh, and it's supposed to represent life. And then the other 2 paintings were made by me. This is like a sunset, but it doesn't even make sense because the sun's like in the middle of the sky, so the reflection should be in the middle rather than having just this long strip down the middle of the water. But I felt like the 3 canvas paintings together didn't really have any kind of consistency or pattern, so I just decided to keep the middle one. First of all, it just looks cool, and also it goes with the whole incorporating warm colors into my room thing that I want to do, so I decided to keep it, and I actually think it looks really cool by itself on this wall. The next thing I did was remove this Bruce Lee painting I had above my calendar, and I actually really like this picture. It was a gift from Adrian, and he got it for me for my 21st, and every time someone comes into my room, they comment on this along with the panda doing hookah poster I have. So those 2 are like the crowd favorites. Because you know what they say, you gotta be inspired by Bruce Lee to acquire that loose leaf. Nobody says that, I just made that up. The reason I'm removing it though is because I wanted to hang up this other Bruce Lee picture that I had for a really long time, and it's this one right here. My sister got it for me from, I think, Vietnam. I forgot, she got it when she traveled somewhere, but it's him in this yellow jumpsuit and this red background, and first of all, it just looks super badass, but second, it goes with the whole warm color thing that I'm going for. So I just took off the other Bruce Lee picture, and then I put some Velcro command strips onto the new one, and then hung it up. And then I removed it so that the adhesive on the wall could have time to set without any weight being pulled down on them. And then after those have kind of like settled in for a while, I can reattach the Velcro and hang up the picture. So after using the desk for a few days, I did have a problem with the tabletop sliding around on the Alex drawers because there's nothing really keeping it in place. It's just kind of sitting on top of them. So I went to Target and bought these like bumpers. They're not like the little rubber feet that are originally supposed to come with the Alex drawers and the tabletop, but they look like the closest thing that would do the job. So I took the circular flat bumpers and put them on each of the corners of the Alex drawers. And this was actually really hard because all the weight is on the back of the table because of the monitor and the monitor arm. So the table's super off balance and I kind of had to lift it really carefully. And there wasn't that much space in the back of the desk. So I had to kind of squeeze in and kind of lift with one hand and put on the little bumper with the other hand. But I eventually was able to do it. And the bumpers actually did a really good job of keeping the desk in place because after I put everything on and tried to straighten out the tabletop by like pushing and pulling it, it would not budge. So I had to kind of lift it in this awkward way, mostly lifting the back because the table was off balance, and then kind of set it down and then keep doing that until the table was centered again. But after that, I have not had any problems at all with the desk moving around. So the bumpers did a really good job of keeping it kind of still. So here you can see them. They're very small and they don't lift the desk up too much, but they do their job perfectly. So really happy with these. Finally, I just made some final touches to the room and cleaned up a bit. So I took out the recycling. I actually looked through the remaining black nightstand I had and decided I could take all of that stuff and fit it into my Alex drawers. So I was also able to get rid of that. Then I just set the bed and then cleaned up my desk and just got rid of some boxes that were in the way. I wiped down the mirrors because they were pretty smudged. And finally, I'm able to show you the finished room. To start off, we have the brand new desk setup, which I just love. I've been using this for a few days now and it's just so much nicer using this nice large desk and then having the storage directly next to me in these beautiful IKEA Alex drawers. And then right next to the desk, we have the Corgi calendar, which is still in the same spot, as well as the new Bruce Lee picture. To the right, where the nightstands used to be, I put my old desk. And what's great is that now that I have that, I'm able to use it as just kind of like a backdrop if I'm filming like a top-down kind of angle. And it is very reflective, which is kind of an issue because it's right next to the window and it won't show just like a white background. But I think with some softer light, it'll be okay. And I think it just looks really nice there as like an extra desk. Right above this, I have my DSLR, which I used to film most of this tour. It is the Canon SL2, and then mounted on top of it is the Takstar microphone, which is only 25 bucks and it's pretty good. To the right of that, we have the canvas painting hanging up on the wall, the mirrors right next to that, and to the right of that, we have the ukulele hanging on the wall, which is still in the same spot as it always was. Then right next to my door is my bookshelf. Not much has changed, but I did remove the photos that were there and made space for new books. And on top of that, we have a deck of playing cards on display, a little kiwi bird figurine from New Zealand, the anteater plush my dad got me for graduation, and 2 Shreks, because no Shreks, no sex. Right above my bookshelf, I have my backpacks hanging as well, just so I can easily grab it as I'm leaving. And then right next to that, we have my bed. I do realize that the bed frame and the comforter and everything could match the room more, but honestly, I think it looks nice and I don't see the need to go out and buy new bedding because I don't need it. Right above that, we have my Doge tapestry. And then right above the head of my bed is the infamous panda doing hookah poster that everyone loves. Every single person who comes into my room for the first time always mentions it and they love it. And I think it's awesome. I don't care that it doesn't really go with anything. It's cool. Next to my bed, we have this little storage cubby thing that I use to store clothing. And then above that, we have a box where I store gym shorts. It's not the prettiest thing, but it works for me right now. And eventually I would like to get a proper dresser and then I could get a separate nightstand to use with my bed. So here's one final pan of my room. Okay, so that's it for the video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. I had so much fun making it and like making over my room. I'm already a pretty like neat and organized person, so my room was pretty clean before, but this just took it to like a whole nother level. And I really like how much more consistent it is now that I've like changed up the furniture and stuff. I especially love having this desk and the IKEA drawers, and it's just so nice to have the storage right next to me and then have this like big large surface to work on. It just makes editing and watching videos and whatever I do at my computer much more enjoyable. I'm really looking forward to the next time I have kind of like a room overhaul, makeover, touch up, but that probably won't be for a long time because I really like how it looks now, but who knows, I might completely like change up my style and want to do something else. So once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.